Though the Enlightenment period saw many great philosophers, one stands above the rest as a champion of the people and their natural rights and liberties. This man was John Locke, whose teachings and ideals would lead to major changes in the social systems of the world, as well as set the standard for the rights of citizens. Born in Rington, Somerset, England on August 29, 1632, John Locke was the son of a country lawyer who also served in the English Civil War. Locke received extensive education throughout his younger days, attending Westminster School and eventually Christ Church College. Throughout Locke's life, not only Britain but the world itself experienced many changes in politics and scientific discovery. Locke himself was in some way responsible for or connected to many of these fundamental events of change. Locke's most important contributions came in the form of his writings, discussing such things as politics, philosophy, and even some religious matters. His work, Two Treatises of Civil Government, emphasized natural rights for every person and argued for the overthrowing of a tyrannical government. The first section of this work focused on the subject of a divine right to rule that many kings claimed as their right to the throne. Locke rejected this idea after careful biblical examination. The second section, or treatise, of this document would be one of the main influences on the American Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution, as well as at least one French constitution. This work proposed that all people, no matter their race, color, or nationality, were entitled to certain natural rights that were not to be withheld, while also arguing for the removal of such governments which withheld those natural rights from its citizens or any people under its control. This theory was a driving influence on the American Revolution and separation from the British Crown. The essay concerning human understanding, however, is not only considered Locke's most influential work, but one of the most important philosophical works ever penned. This major writing would discuss many major issues, including liberties of the citizen, the nature of the self, and humanity's natural rights. This work was extremely well received almost immediately, with its new ideas and arguments gaining support through Europe. In this essay, Locke criticizes traditions such as the monarchy and structures surrounding it. He also discusses the processes of human thought and emotion, and opened the door for many new ideas, thought processes, and the embracement of the Enlightenment as a whole. The essay concerning human understanding was not only a huge influence in its own time, but also a great influence on almost all future works on the topics of liberties and natural rights.
Locke's work hugely influenced the development of Western societies, and in particular the American Declaration of Independence. For example, in its insistence on the separation of church and state, and in the Second Amendment's right to bear arms, a clear descendant of Locke's view that a people should always retain both the right and the means to overthrow government. Locke made one other great innovation, this time in education, in his book Some Thoughts Concerning Education of 1693. This was possibly the most influential book on education ever written. In 1684, an aristocrat called Edward Clarke asked Locke for advice on raising his son and heir. Though he was unmarried and never had children of his own, and by all accounts didn't actually enjoy their company that much, Locke responded with a series of letters that he eventually turned into a book. Locke began by saying that all of us start off in life with minds that are blank, tabula rasa, he called them, in another famous work, his Essay Concerning Human Understanding of 1689. The idea ran contrary to prevailing views that our minds are fitted at birth with all sorts of ideas about religion, ethics, morality, and government. Locke argued that everything we think, believe, know, or conjecture is actually derived from experience, from the simple ideas we receive from sensations in the outside world, or internal reflections on the processes of our own understandings. Led Locke to the belief that education was absolutely crucial to how people turn out. I think I may say that of all the men we meet with, 9 parts of 10 are what they are, good or evil, useful or not, because of education. Locke believed that we are very vulnerable to the ideas that people place in our minds when we're children. He wrote, "The little and almost insensible impressions on our tender infancies have very important and lasting consequences." He argued that the association of ideas that one makes when young are more important than those made later because they are the foundations of ourselves.
Locke's philosophies, theories, and beliefs were some of the most influential ideas of the Enlightenment period. His work on the liberties and the natural rights of the common man and the citizen would form the basis for some of the most important legislative documents ever to be written, while his teachings and writings would continue to be taught at many levels for generations to come, as one of the most basic fundamental principles of humanity.